Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert's Porch. I'm your host, Robert. Alright, NASCAR Cup Series Xfinity 500 preview. This is the 148th NASCAR Cup Series race at Martinsville, the paperclip. This track has been on every single NASCAR season ever since 1949. What we know is the NASCAR Cup Series, 74 years ago, this track was on the schedule. It started NASCAR racing in 1948 with the modified series. We've had some great battles here. We've had some just craziness here. We had the spring race that was so-so. 40 degrees, no tires, put rubber down. I'm actually in the process of watching the Xfinity race right now. I'm kind of behind a little bit. The first caution just came out. Like Joe Graff Jr. got spun. So Xfinity 500, 263 miles, 500 laps around the half-mile track. Oh, looks like Chris Wright in the 68 kind of started it. He got in the wall, and then he got some help from there, too. 500 laps, 3 stages, 130, 130, and 240. Hendrick Motorsports has won 13 of the last 19 fall races, 9 out of the last 20 overall. This is the site of the very first Hendrick Motorsports race, All-Star Racing, back in 1984, Jeff Bodine. Maybe you heard Rick Hendrick tell the story. He was going to close the doors. He couldn't afford to do it anymore. And Jeff Bodine and the crew talked him into going through Martinsville. Let's at least go to Martinsville and see what we can do. Jeff Bodine, a short track racer from the modified series, thought he could do something there. They won. 290 wins later, Hendrick Motorsports still going strong. Martin Truex Jr. won 3 of the last 6 races at Martinsville, who hasn't done much this year at all. In the spring, we had Chase Elliott winning both stages. He led the first 185 laps, which is stage 1, stage 2. The only cautions during that time were the 2 stage breaks. We had a total of 4 cautions for 36 laps, 2 cautions in the final 3 stages, and 2 cautions in the third stage. 35 of the 36 cars were running at the end of the race. I bring that stat up. 35 of the 36 cars were running. People talk about the good old days of NASCAR, the 70s, 80s, and 90s. There was a time back then where the person that won the race would be on the lot by themselves. Second place would be a lap down. Third place would be 3 laps down. Fourth place might be 3 laps down. Fifth place was 5 laps down. Sixth place was 7 laps down. On down the line. The 1976 Daytona 500. Some say one of the greatest Daytona 500s ever. David Pearson was the only car on the lead lap. He won the race. Because Richard Petty did not finish, he ended up a lap down. So the winner is the only one on the lead lap. We call that the greatest NASCAR race of history. When 10 cars sometimes finish the race because of attrition back then, and now we have 35 cars finishing the race. In the spring, William Byron led 212 laps, lap 186 through 303. Chase led 185, Ryan Blaney 5, Austin Dillon 1. William Byron ended up winning the race, followed by Joe Logano, Austin Dillon, Ryan Blaney, Ross Chastain, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, Eric Almirola, Chase Briscoe, and Chase Elliott. Now, the last 7 races at just Martinsville, Ryan Blaney averaged 5.6, Joey Logano 7.4, Martin Truex Jr. 7.4 and 3 wins, Brad Keselowski 9.1 and a win, Kyle Busch 9.1, Chase Elliott 10.3 and a win, William Byron 11.0 and a win. As we know, back in 2020. Chase Elliott won the Martinsville race and went on to win the Phoenix race and win the championship. He was tied for the 4th and final playoff spot coming into Martinsville. So it was basically one of those walk-off kind of style wins. This next-gen car on short tracks hasn't done a lot. We all know this. Richmond twice, Martinsville, and then Bristol once, not including Bristol Dirt. William Byron averaged 4.5 with a win. Kevin Harvick averaged 6.7 in a win. Chase Elliott 7.75. Christopher Bell 8.0. Chris Buescher 8.5 in a win. Denny Hamlin 10.5 in a win. Kyle Larson 10.75. Earlier today we had practice and qualifying. Normally I do try to do these videos before qualifying, but today I decided to go ahead, since qualifying is on this morning, go ahead and wait till qualifying was over with. Again, yeah, like I said, I'm a little behind, about 47 minutes behind on the race. I'm still 13 to go in the Xfinity race in stage 1. Qualifying for the Cup race, we had Kyle Larson on the pole, followed by Chase Elliott, Chase Briscoe, Ryan Blaney. Cole Custer qualified 5th. I will have a driver profile this week, like I did last week at Bubba Wallace, of Cole Custer. I think he is one of those drivers right now, to be honest with you, he's racing for his NASCAR Cup Series career. As we know, Gene Haas wants to leave him in the 41 for next year, but Tony Stewart wants to put Ryan Preece in it. So I feel bad for him. I mean, hopefully, if they do put Preece in the car, he goes back to Xfinity for maybe a second Stewart Haas Xfinity ride. But like I said, I will do a driver profile on Cole Custer this week. Brad Keselowski qualified 6th. Great run for him. Suarez 7th. Harvick 8th. Ross Chastain 9th. And Harrison Burton 10th. So the playoffs. It is playoff time, folks. Joe Logano locked himself in already. He's got nothing really to worry about. He started in 12th. Ross Chastain is plus 19. He started 9th. Chase Elliott plus 11. Starting 2nd. William Byron. Scared for him. He's plus 5 right now, but he's starting 25th. He is the last among the playoff 8. Denny Hamlin is 5 points out. He's starting 11th. So when the race begins, Denny will technically be in. Ryan Blaney is minus 18. He's starting 4th. Christopher Bell, minus 33, starting 20th. Chase Briscoe, starting 3rd. He is minus 44. The most points that you can get in a single race is 60. The most points you can get in the final stage is 40. He is behind by 44, so he has to get stage points. Chase Briscoe can be eliminated after stage 1. If I had to pick the 4 people I want to see go to Phoenix, obviously Joe Logano's in. Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, and Ryan Blaney would be the 3 I pick. I kind of want Ross Chastain to go, but I have a feeling something may happen to Chastain here. Martinsville is one of those tracks where you can kind of get into somebody going in the corner and it won't look obvious, especially if your car is loose and you just wash up the track and you just shove them into the wall. There's ways at Martinsville that he can get caught up and stuff. I don't know. More likely, I think he will. I mean, what I think honestly will happen is probably going to be Logano, Chastain, Elliott, and Blaney. My 4 picks to win this race: Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr. My 4th pick. Back in Road America in the Xfinity Series, we all know what happened with Noah Gragson and Sage Karam. Sage Karam ran Noah kind of dirty. Why aren't they throwing a caution when that car's just sitting there? Bailey Curley got in the wall with 4 to go in the first stage, and he's not even off the track, and they've yet to throw the caution. But yet, 2 weeks ago at Vegas, the 19 half spun and saved it, and they threw a caution. I disagree with that move. But anyway, so just like back at Road America, Noah Gragson and Sage Karam got together. Everybody was going off on Noah Gragson. From that point on, I picked Noah Gragson every week because of everything everyone's doing. And again, one of my favorite drivers, to be honest with you. My 4th pick to win this race, Bubba Wallace. So my 4 picks: Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Martin Truex Jr., and Bubba Wallace are the 4 picks to win the Xfinity 500. As always, thanks for watching the Robert Sports Show. Make sure you check out the Dead on Tools preview. See how well I picked the winner in the playoffs for the Xfinity Series. Make sure you check out the driver profile of this week, which was Bubba Wallace. And then next week I'll have Cole Custer as a driver profile. As always, thanks for watching the Robert Sports Show. And don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports channel content.